So let's talk a bit about our presenters. So I mentioned that we're doing this a little bit later than usual, but both of them are here today at 7 a.m. their time on the other side of the world. So here we have Mark Kuen-Yi Lin, who is a professor and department head at the Department of Technology Application and Human Resource Development, National Taiwan Normal University in Taipei, Taiwan. He is also the Secretary General of Industrial Technology Education Association of Taiwan, and he is in charge of holding the next 2021 ICTE conference, which is what we'll be talking about today. Mark's research interests involve technology education, STEM education, and technology teacher education. Mark has obtained the 2020 Distinguished Technology and Engineering Professional DTE recognition, 2016 Ta Yu Wu Memorial Award of Ministry of Science and Technology for Outstanding Younger Researchers in Taiwan, Young Outstanding Researchers Project of Ministry of Science and Technology, and this is for 7 years from 2012 to 2019, Distinguished Professor Award at National Taiwan Normal University, and 2012 to 2013 21st Century Leadership Academy. And we also have John Williams here today, who is a professor of education and the director of graduate research in the School of Education at Curtin University in Perth, Western Australia, where he teaches and supervises research students in STEM and technology education. Apart from Australia, he has worked and studied in a number of African and Indian Ocean countries, as well as in New Zealand and the United States. His current research interests include STEM, mentoring beginning teachers, PCK, and electronic assessment of performance. He regularly presents at international and national conferences. He consults on technology education in a number of countries and is a longstanding member of 8 professional associations. He is the series editor of the Springer Contemporary Issues in Technology Education and is on the editorial board of 6 professional journals. He has authored or contributed to over 250 publications and is elected to the ICTE's Academy of Fellows for prominence in the profession. So without further ado, let's get started with our presentation today.
Hi, in this ICTE seminar, we would like to talk about the International Conference on Technology Education in the Asia-Pacific region. The presentation will begin by myself giving a little bit of the history. My name's John Williams. I'm in Australia at the moment. And then the second part of the presentation will be delivered by Professor Lin from Taiwan. We hope the technology all works okay, but so far so good. I'd like to give a little bit of the background of this international conference organisation. I think it's relevant in terms of ICTE and the international approach that ICTE has, and also ICTE is one of the signatories of this conference organisation, so I think it's relevant from that perspective as well. So a little bit of the background. The idea of the conference was to bring together technology education professionals and just talk about ideas and research that was taking place in this particular region, the Asia-Pacific region. In countries within this region, technology is known by a range of terms. It could be design and technology, industrial technology, technology education, technology and engineering education in some areas, but we'll use the term technology education to encompass all of those. So the first conference was held in Japan in 1995, and you can see in this screen the locations for the conferences that have taken place since then. It's been in Australia a couple of times, South Korea a couple of times, China also a number of times, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and New Zealand. So the constitution of the conference implies that it is based on an association to an association structure. That means that at every conference, which is held every 2 years, the next conference location is nominated, and the conference organizer for that next conference becomes the president of ICTE for that period of time. So there's no conference secretariat as such. It just goes from country to country. So in a sense, with that relaxed kind of structure, it's interesting that it's actually lasted so long. This slide was supposed to have a map of the world on it. I'm not sure what's happened here, but you need to visualize the map of the world and the Asia Pacific. So on the right-hand side is the Pacific Ocean, and of course the States is on the eastern side of the Pacific. So it was included as one of the signatories for the ICTE Constitution. This is a copy of the Constitution, and you can see the names there. It's interesting to note that some of the names are people who are still current. The last name, KK from Hong Kong, is still very active in the Hong Kong Association. The second name, Alistair Jones, is still active in the association in New Zealand. And 1, 2, 3, the fourth name, Stephen Lee, he's still quite active in Taiwan as well. So a little bit of the background. The next ICTE conference will be held in January in 2021, and we would like to see more representatives from America there. And it will be organised by the ITEA Association in Taiwan and by the National Taiwan Normal University. So before Mark talks about the upcoming conference in 2021, I'll just run through some of the highlights of previous conferences to give you a feel for the countries they've been in, and also a little bit about the nature of the conference in those countries. So the activities of the conference are typical, I suppose, of many technology education conferences. Papers are delivered on curriculum reform. Critical issues and problems are a particular highlight of these conferences because these countries all come together from a similar region. Many of the issues and problems that are being dealt with are similar. Of course, research papers are presented and resources are shared. So in that sense, quite a common pattern for each of the conferences. All the papers that are presented are reviewed, peer-reviewed before presentation, and then usually published by the country who's hosting the conference. And then, of course, the papers are available later for publication in other journals if the authors want to do that. So in 2009, the conference was in Taiwan. So 2021, it's coming around again. But the topic here was that more is less. So my memory of this conference, I've been to a number of these conferences. My recollection, my most vivid recollection of this conference was karaoke on the bus. So we went to, we had a tour to a number of different venues on the bus, and while we're on the bus, the conference organizer insisted that we have karaoke on the way. So for me, that's a very vivid memory of this conference. You can see from this slide the extent of the USA representation at these early conferences. Quite a few people from the States who also had links with the Asia-Pacific countries presenting at this conference in 2009. In 2011, the conference was in Japan, and the topic was technology education for international cooperation. This was particularly appropriate to be held in Japan because Japan has a very strong focus on international cooperation and support for technology education in developing countries. So the conference included a number of representatives from developing countries, which really added to the richness of this conference. So here you can see some of the resources which were shared at the conference in 2011. In 2013, the next conference was in Nanjing in China. This also was a particularly interesting venue because Nanjing is really the center of the development of technology education in China. So there's a lot of activity happening around writing curriculum, writing support materials for teachers, and then trialing those products in China prior to their implementation. Professor Duggar, many of you will be aware of, was a delegate at this conference, and you can see when we visited one of the schools here, a welcome to Bill and his wife. The 2015 conference was held in Hong Kong, and the topic was technology education in shaping a sustainable future. Again, this was particularly appropriate in Hong Kong. You can see on the screen here one of their new campus buildings, which has been built to be particularly sustainable. And on the right-hand side of this slide is some of the delegates to this conference. And you can see in the front row, there's delegates from the Netherlands, from the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and all the ICTE Asia countries. Also in the second row, I can see someone from Russia. So they were representing Russia at this conference. So it's a truly international conference, despite just being focused on those ICTE countries. Here you can see some more elements of the conference in Hong Kong, some of which represent the sustainability focus of this conference. The solar stove was presented, a new type of walking robot. On the right-hand side, you can see Richard Kimball presenting, and on the bottom left, John Ritz was also at this conference presenting about research. So the 2017 conference was in Christchurch in New Zealand. I was living in New Zealand at the time, so I was very fortunate to be able to host the conference. It was presented in conjunction with the TENS National Technology Education New Zealand conference. So the two conferences came together in New Zealand with the theme and holistic approach to technology education. You can see some of the delegates in this picture from the Asia Pacific area countries in Christchurch in New Zealand. Then the most recent conference, which was in January last year, was in South Korea again. This was the second time this conference had been in South Korea. And the topic was, again, focusing on sustainability. This is obviously a theme which is important throughout this region. On this slide, on the left-hand side, you can see the ICTE committee meeting at this conference. So from the left-hand side, Mark is representing the Netherlands. Then we have representatives from China, from Hong Kong, from Korea, myself from Australia and New Zealand, Johnny there from the US, and Stephen Lee representing Taiwan. So this is the type of meeting that we have at each of these conferences to determine where the conference is going next. So South Korea is particularly known for its temples, and some of us were able to have a visit after the conference to visit some of the temples. And then on the left-hand side here are some of the student projects which were exhibited at the conference in South Korea. So that's a little bit about some of the recent conferences and the countries they've been in. Attending these conferences is invariably a very rich type of experience. Not only you experience a different culture, but also a different type of technology education, a range of different approaches to delivering technology education. So I've found these conferences very rich, both personally and professionally. I'd now like to hand over to Mark, who's going to talk about the next conference in Taiwan in January 2021. So thank you for joining me. It's been nice to talk to you, and maybe in the Q&A after this presentation, we'll have another opportunity to chat. Thank you.
Thanks, John, for introducing the background of ICTE and the past conference highlights. Hello, everyone. It's my turn to introduce the third part. The third part is the highlights of 2021 ICTE program. Before I introduce the highlights of 2021 ICTE program, I want to introduce the technology education in Taiwan. I think that you might have interest in the development of technology education in Taiwan, and how do we teach technology education in Taiwan. In fact, I will also arrange a field trip to our technology classroom, maker education, and the technology centers in Taiwan for the ICTE 2021 conference. In Taiwan, we are facing two important issues. The first one is STEM education, and the other one is the maker movement. Sometimes some professors or technology teachers will combine STEM with maker movement. I'm not sure what do you think about this, but I am a little worried about this. I am afraid that the nature of technology education might be gone under the constraints of STEM, and the maker movement. But we still have benefits through the promotion of maker movement. For example, the Ministry of Education invests more than US $10 million per year in promoting technology education and the maker movement. In Taiwan, we have more than 80 maker education and the technology centers. The major purpose of maker education and the technology centers are focusing on promoting technology education in K-12 education level. Besides, the on-job training programs or workshops are also provided for improving their professional teaching competencies. However, Most training programs or workshops are focusing on making products instead of learning how to teach technology education in K-12 education level, according to the technology curriculum guidelines. In addition to set up the maker education and the technology centers, we also focused on promoting the first robot competition in senior high school level. The emphasis of first robot competition is not coming from curriculum guidelines or technology and engineer professionals. Some science teachers lead their students to join the first robot competition. And more technology teachers feel that it is also very important for us to ask our students to join the first robot competition. Therefore, the national technology competition in the senior high school level also focus on similar design based on the first robot competition. In the middle school level, we also have national competition. The major purpose of this competition is focused on evaluating their technological problem-solving skill. This is a hydraulic arm activity. Students have to design and make different hydraulic arms to finish the task. And let's look the video. This video introduces the 2019 National Technology Competition. They have to design and make 3 technological products in finishing 3 tasks. For the first task, they have to design and make a hydraulic arm and pick the ball up and throw it into the holes. They can get different scores if they put the balls into different holes. For the second task, they have to carry on the sandbag to the designated place. The more sandbags they carry on to the designated place, the more scores they can get. For the third task, they also have to design and make a catapult, and they have to use the sandbags to attack the soda cans. Okay. And in this video, this is the real situation in 2019 National Technology Competition. due to they are the representative of different cities and countries. So we did a new challenge for them. They have to revise their design and hit the moving targets behind the soda can. So it's very difficult for them to do it because they don't know this design until they join the national competition. So let's check the video. Here is hydraulic arm, here is the car, here is they have to hit the target or hit the moving target under the
第26组的篮坛活动开始进行他们的第3关同时进行，同时也非常顺利的将4颗球都放进最远的洞。第17组的沟通活动已经结束他们的比赛了。
Okay. Let's move to the next slide. And this video is the 2018 National Technology Competition. We also asked them to design and make a hydraulic arm, but the task is totally different. They have to pick up all the candies and the soda cans by using the hydraulic arm. As you know, it is very difficult for us to pick up all the candies and the soda cans, but the team finished the mission impossible. It is so surprising for us to see how our students can do during the national technology competition. Besides, we also have many international connections. We invite international students to join our technology competition. And we also invite many outstanding technology and engineering educators to visit us. For example, Mark DeVries from Michigan, John Wells from Virginia Tech, United States, and KK Wang from Hong Kong. We learned a lot from these international professionals and improved our technology education through this international connection. I think that it's the true values of the ICTE conference. Let's go back to introduce the ICTE 2021 in Taiwan. The theme of ICTE 2021 is Less is More Plus. Issue of STEM, maker, and emerging technology in technology education. It is very important for us to learn to teach technology education by utilizing the limited resources and optimizing students' learning outcomes. In addition to the theme of ICTE 2021, we are also welcome to any topics relating to technology education. As for our keynote speakers, we invite several famous keynote speakers or invited speakers for ICTE 2021. For example, we invite John Williams from Australia and John Wells from the United States. And we also invite Mark DeVries from New Zealand and Ed Green from Utah State University. Besides, we also invite Johnny Moore from IDEA and Shi Chun Fan from National Kaohsiung Normal University, Taiwan. In addition to these professors, we also have many representatives who join the ICT conference, and you can explore the development of technology education in the Asia Pacific region. Under the theme of less is more plus, we have 4 strands for your reference. Strand 1, International Development of Technology Education Policy. Strand 2, Secondary Technology Education, Curriculum and Facility. Strand 3, Secondary Technology Education, Instructional Design and Assessment. And Strand 4, Technology Education, Teaching Practice, Sharing. And you can apply for oral presentation or poster presentation. If you want to make oral presentation, you can choose scholarly paper or teaching practice sharing. The difference between these 2 kinds is that you don't have to submit full papers if you just want to apply for teaching practice sharing. As for the scholarly papers, we also do not limit the length of full papers. On the other hand, if you want to apply for poster presentation, you just need to submit abstract and do not have to submit full paper. The idea of this design is hope that we can focus on exchanging valuable information or ideas mutually in this ICT conference. And for the important days, we have made some adjustments due to the COVID-19 disease. We still hope that we can hold the on-site ICT 2021 conference. If it is still hard for inviting all to join the on-site conference, we will change it to online conference. You can see here, you just need to submit your abstract before November 1, 2020. And if you want to apply for full paper, the deadline is December 1. And for the early registration, that's December 25. And in order to let you experience the hands-on activities in Taiwan, we also invite technology teachers to hold some different workshops. You can also choose this practical workshop and bring your own souvenirs home. And please take a look at the beauty of Taiwan. And this is the ICT 2021 official website. Welcome to take a look to scan the QR code and link to our website. Move the video. You just need to scan here and you can link to the official website. And if you have any question, you are welcome to email me. I will answer your question as soon as possible. And this is the last slide. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm Mark. It is my pleasure to make presentation with John. And if you have any question, we are glad to answer your any question. Thank you.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much for to Mark and John for putting together that great presentation on the ICTE conference. I especially love that promotional video at the end. I thought that was really great and nicely put together. So we're going to get started with our Q&A session, which is live. So just to reiterate, if you have any questions, please press the Q&A button at the center bottom of your screen. And you can type your question out, or you can email them to my email address at rturner@iteea.org. So let's get started with our questions. So the first one that came in, I expected this one to be asked. Someone asked, what plans are you making in terms of the possibility of COVID still being an issue in January? So Mark or John?
Okay. John, I think I can answer this question. And thanks for Katie's question. And I think that we will discuss this issue with all representatives around October, because I already emailed all the representatives around May, but their answer is that it is hard for them to make decision. So we will discuss this issue around October. And in Taiwan, the COVID-19 is under control. It is very safe in Taiwan, but I'm not sure if you visit Taiwan, and you might have chance to stay in the hotel for 14 days, and that's impossible for you to join the conference. So, and I think we have to make decision around October, but it is hard for us to put off the ICTE conference, because if we put off the date, and it will affect the ICTE 2023 in Australia. So we prefer to maintain the conference date. And if it is hard for all to join the conference on site, and we will arrange an online conference for everybody. Yes, thank you.
And this kind of goes along with it. If there would be any opportunity to attend virtually to the conference, could that be a potential?
Yes, sure. We already planned the online conference, and we will try to arrange some room sessions, and everybody can join the conference through Zoom, and you can also join the keynote speech or other sessions online. Thank you.
Great, thank you. How do you determine the locations for each conference within the Pacific Rim?
Maybe I can answer this one, Mark.
Yes.
It's really, we try and move it around the conference rim, the Pacific Rim countries. And at each conference, we have the ICT board meeting. And at the board meeting, we decide who's going to host the next conference. So because they're every 2 years, there's enough time between one conference and another for someone to organise. We usually try and do a little bit of politicking before the conference, just to make sure that there are 1 or 2 countries who are interested in hosting the next conference. But it's decided at the board meeting at each conference.
Mark, do you have anything to add to that, or?
No, that's all. Thank you.
In Taiwan, what art subjects are a part of STEAM?
We have visual arts in secondary school level, and we also have music. So when we design STEAM curriculum, we will invite the visual art teacher to join our classroom, and they can teach you how to design different shape. Yes, and for the music teacher, and sometimes we will ask our students to design and make a speaker for a cell phone. You can put your cell phone on the speaker, and let's one activity, and the other one is kalimba music box. And you have to play with your sound. So sometimes we will design some different hands-on activity, and the art teachers can join the classroom, and they can share their experience with their students. Yes. Thank you.
Can I just add to that? I mean, not related to Taiwan, but in general, in terms of the arts. I was at a secondary school last week, which is a specialised arts school. So some schools in Australia can specialise in particular areas. So this is an arts school, and every faculty in the school subscribes to a STEM approach. So they don't call it STEAM, they do call it STEM. So it's more of a pedagogical approach to integration across all curriculum areas. So even in the public presentations that they make for their art areas, they put on concerts and so on. The philosophy of STEM is still important in terms of what they do. So it's used as a whole of school integration, but interestingly, they call it STEM rather than STEAM. So I guess it varies a lot from school to school.
Right. And in the States, it seems that there's always a debate if it's STEM or STEAM, but I like how you mentioned that it's very integrated and embedded in every aspect of STEM, even though they don't call it STEAM.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. In Taiwan, how do you support students to apply the knowledge when they design to solve the problem more than trail?
Okay, thank you. This is a very good question. And for us, I think that it is not just teach our students how to apply their STEM knowledge. For us, we think that it is very important to apply their STEM abilities to solve the problem, not just knowledge. But for the knowledge part, and we will teach our students the related knowledge, the related STEM knowledge before the activity. And during their design process, we will ask them, how do you apply the STEM knowledge to propose your design ideas? And on the other hand, we also, when they are making their products according to their design idea, we also ask them to think about how do they apply their STEM knowledge to solve the possible problems during the making process. And that's how we teach our students apply their STEM knowledge. But I just say, and I think that STEM ability is very important, because we have different definition for the ability in different subjects. For us in Taiwan, and we have a team that we invite technology educator and the science educator and the mathematics educator together. We discuss the problem solving ability together, and I found that we all have different definition of the problem solving. So we try to arrange different experience for our students to learn how to apply their different STEM problem solving ability in finish the STEM projects. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Great, thank you. So it's very differentiated.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of questions about the submitted projects for 2021. So do you want projects in the integrated STEM program, for example, using computers in the physics lab?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I think that's very important for when we are promoting the STEM education. We hope that we can invite more different participants from the science education or technology education or engineering education or mathematics education. So for this project, I think it's very good to join the conference, and I think like we will have good communication during the conference. Yes.
Yeah, and they extended that by
John?
saying we had students interface microcomputers with probes and analyze data on microcomputers, which required tech knowledge instruction of many types.
Yeah.
So John, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I think a hallmark of this conference, Rebecca, is the diversity that it offers in terms of presentations. When you have a national conference, everybody who attends is kind of working to the same curriculum in a broad way. But this conference, because there's so many countries represented, you really get people who are working to a range of different curriculum depending on the country they're from. So the diversity of interpretation of what technology education and its relationship to engineering and design. I mean, there's quite a lot of diversity related to all of those key questions. So in that respect, this conference is really interesting, I think.
Well, thank you for putting all this together. It really seems great, and it seems like a great way to keep international relations and community building internationally. And that kind of goes along with one of the comments we got from Ed Reeve. He said, thanks, and for all who are interested, this is a great conference to make long-lasting international friends and to learn about research and technology education around the world. So I couldn't have said it better. So if we don't have any other questions, I believe we are going to be sending out the link to today's video by tomorrow, so you all will get that. And we can also provide a link to the ICTE website that you guys had linked there. So we can include that as well. Oh, we have one more question. What distinguishes the difference between your selection of a poster versus a talk?
Oh. We will respect your application if we prefer to apply for a poster presentation, and we will arrange you to join a poster presentation session. If we prefer to make oral presentation, we will arrange you to join the oral presentation. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's really up to the presenter to choose whether they want to do a verbal presentation or just have a poster. And I mean, many presentations can be either. So it's up to the applicant to decide which format they'd like to use to present.
So I guess would the verbal presentation be kind of like a TED Talk format, I guess? Would you say it's more of just freely speaking, whereas the poster is just standalone?
Yeah, usually there's a time for people to talk to their posters, so people can stand beside their poster, and then usually during a lunch period or something like that, there's an opportunity for people to come and talk to the authors who designed the research in the poster, so they can communicate that way. Great.
Well, thank you. And Steve Barbeda mentioned, thank you both for a wonderful session. And again, thank you both for getting up exceptionally early on your side of the world to present to us the ICTE conference of 2021.
No problem.